Okay, let's start talking about Maya nCloth. So this is Maya 2024, but the same stuff is in 2023 as well. So doesn't matter which version you use. So let me just create, like, let's say a cloth. So I start with a plane. Oh, you can just click here, and then I hold a J to snap rotate it. So let's make a like a little curtain. So actually, let me just create another one as a ground. So I call this ground. I call this curtain or cloth. So let me just press Alt B so we see different. And I like to assign two different colors. The grounds will be like a little bit dark. This one would be a little bit bright. That's two. Okay. So I turn on the wireframe on a screen on object as well. So we see the wireframes. And for the cloth, maybe you may need a bit of detail. So I add more detail. So the cloth in Maya, which is in this FX tab here, or also here, if you go to the FX and then you get this nCloth, it's very easy to use. You just select your object. You say that this is my, let me just tear this up. So you say that, so not nCache, but nCloth. You say that this is my nCloth, okay? When I play, it passes through the ground because I didn't say that this is the ground. First of all, when you want to do simulation, make sure that your playback is play every frame free. So this ground is a passive collider. So now when I play, let's play more. It just like falls on it. You can set playback, play every frame maximum real time, so you get the real time, the accurate time it is. So that's the cloth we created. Let me just make the shading two-sided, the lighting two-sided, so both sides. So very easy. You can turn everything into cloth. Like let's create a donut shape. And say that, oh, this is also a cloth. This one a different color, just for the separation. And oops, what I've done. And here say that this is also a cloth. Once the cloth is created, if you select the object, press Ctrl A, inside nCloth node, which is here, you can click on this, no, not nCloth shape, you can click on these presets and say that this is like, let's say this is a rubber sheet. So it starts to behave like a rubber, or a solid rubber maybe, I don't know. Let's start rubber sheet. Let's rotate it a bit. Let's play the simulation. So its behavior is like, that's too soft for me. So let me set it to, first of all, let's bring it closer to the ground. Solid rubber. Okay, that's better. So it's more like the way I wanted, like a balloony thing. So it's not just the cloth. Anything can turn into, if you get like issues like what we see, just turn off the cache and turn it on again. Because when it caches, it just saves them into the disk, so you get different results. Let's go back to this one that I just created. So with this one, I will show you some basic guides. So first of all, you can have an object. Let's say I create a cylinder. And I rotate this cylinder. Again, I hold J, so I snap rotate it. And a cylinder with a bunch of subdivisions on. Okay, so let's say we want to hang this cloth from this cylinder, right? So what you do, you just select your nCloth. This has already been turned into nCloth. Yeah, I have pressed this cloth before, right? So then you hold Shift and select your object. Then you right-click on your cloth and say vertices, and you select the vertices that are supposed to connect with the this thing. Let me just move this a little bit up so you see the connection. So select the cloth, select the object, right click vertices, and select the line of vertices you want, holding Shift. So this is the line I want to connect with this. And then you go to the N constraints and components. Point to surface. So these points are supposed to be connected to surface. So now you see, oh, there's like a little bit of like connection happening between these points and the surface. So when I run the simulation, this doesn't fall, but it just kind of like hangs with it. So this brings you to an interesting conclusion that like if I animate this, so if I add a keyframe here, then here, then back where it was, then here. So do I get a simulation there? Yes. So we get like a nice simulation out of this. And the constraint is animatable as well. You see that let's first of all, let's turn this into, it looks so plasticky to me. So I select this cloth and then go to the nCloth shape, which is this one, presets, maybe a bit silky. Yeah, it's just like more interesting, the behavior. This dynamic constraints, you see that it's enabled, right? But like at any point, let's say here, somewhere in the middle, you can say that, okay, like let's say here, I want this connection to be disconnected. So here you just right click and add a keyframe Y, so say that it's on up to here, up to 98. And when I go to 99, it will be off. So I right click on it and add another keyframe. So let's play it. So it runs all through. And when it comes to this point, you see that, oh, the connection is lost. So if you have somebody grabbing a piece of cloth like and let it go, that's the way you animate that. Also, you can have objects interacting with the cloth. Let's say sphere, like let's say this is sphere. Here, let me just turn off the cache so it doesn't show all those crazy things. And this sphere is animated as well. And this sphere is passive collider as well. So like when you play it, the sphere also, like you see that it just like hit the cloth. So there's a lot of things you can do with the cloth. Also, you can bring forces like wind force. Here you see that inside field I have air and drag and gravity. Gravity is already there for the nCloth. Like radial, which is for explosion, turbulence, like which is like a turbulent vortex, which is like a tornado thing. But let me add a simple air. And this air, if you see that the direction of it is y, up, like it's just blowing it up. I should have selected the cloth and then click on the air. Now it's added to the cloth. And it's, if you see that it starts, okay, let me just make it very strong. And you see that the direction is x0, so y0, but y is 1. So it's towards up. Magnitude is 4, but I make it 40, like 10 times more. Now you see that it starts to, oh, let me make it 400. And I'm going to leave it here. You see it blows the cloth up. It doesn't let it fall. So you see the cloth is blowing by this already. Let me just run this longer. So when the cloth is detached, it doesn't drop because the air is just trying to hold it in the and this one has an attenuation attribute, which if I press T on it, so which is this one, you will see that this is the magnitude, and this is the like this fading away. So let's say this air could be like a fan that is only functional like at this spot. And if the cloth passes this spot, it's not functional. So it starts to be, let's say, let's move it to somewhere like here. So here it functions, but here not. Here it functions, so you see it blows it away, but then after a while it just, oh, after a while it will fall. Yeah, there's a lot of fun you can have with cloth, and it's very easy to work. It's not the most versatile, strongest cloth out there. When you want to do a complicated cloth simulation, we use Houdini. But for a simple piece of cloth, flags, I don't know, robes or stuff like that, it's very handy. Okay, so let's look at Maya Mesh, which is very interesting. So Mesh is an instancer. What an instance means? It means that it generates multiple versions of an object, but they are fake versions. They are like kind of shadows of it. We see them, we think that they are multiple objects, but they are not. So let me just start with a basic sphere here, or maybe let me just create a basic cube just for the sake of making it simple. So if I want a sphere, I make a cube and then I smooth it. Then I get this, and I press 3. So it looks like a cube. Even without 3, you can smooth it 2 steps. So that's a much nicer sphere. And then if I click on the mesh, it just I have to, before creating mesh, I have to use this delete history and freeze transformation quite a lot. And then I just create a mesh which creates multiple versions of it. So it seems very boring at the moment. But imagine that I have a bunch of stairs. So let me just create a bunch of stairs. This is the first step, right? Shift D, this is the second step. Alt B for the background. Shift D again, and it generates the rest for you with the, okay. So these are a bunch of stairs. And then we have a little jar. So I go to the side view again, and then I grab a curve. Curves, and this curve, maybe I click here and here, Alt B to see it better. I create a profile of the jar. Oops. Okay, I press enter. Actually, this has to be, so I go to the modify center pivot. Actually, pivot's going to be, I press D and move it like here. And then I revolve it around, so surface, it's called revolve inside modeling curves. Surface, where's the revolve? Oh, here. So I revolve it and it gives me a surface. So I think I would like the, so it still is connected to that curve. So if I select the curve, go to the vertices of that curve, and so I can adjust the my modeling. Yeah, that looks like a more distant jar. I'm not sure about this part. Oh yeah, okay. That's a good way to close it. I can delete the history now. Why not make it a bit bigger, wider before that, before deleting the history? Because once you delete the history, there's no way back. So now I Alt-Shift-D, delete the history, so it's not connected to the curve anymore. I can I have to convert it into polygon, so I go to the modify, convert to NURBS to polygons. That is a very ugly conversion, so I am going to make it nicer. NURBS to polygon, quadrangulate and count, maybe 100 polygons, apply. Still ugly, 200, apply. This seems a bit better. Yeah, slightly better version of that. Still, I lost a lot of details, but I have to just make it like more and more polygons. But I'm happy with this already. And I'm going to turn off this two-sided lighting, so I see the issue with it, which is like, it's inside out. So which I have to go to the mesh display and reverse. So now it's the right side. I can also shift right click and extrude it out. Extrude it out a bit. So give it a bit of thickness as well. So that's sort of a nice piece of jar. And imagine that I'm going to do like a bit of art direction as well. So imagine that we have a bunch of kind of marbles rolling out from stairs and then drop into, let me just merge all of this, combine all of these stairs together. Shift right click, combine. Where is it? It's here. Alt Shift D, delete the history, rename it. Stairs and jar. So they like bounce on the stairs and then all go to the jar, right? So we know that this is like, if I run a simulation, it's almost impossible. So I have to do a bit of art direction here. So let me just hide these two and show you a bunch of simulation stuff. And then how we can turn this into lots of marbles. So when you create your mesh network, which is this, you see that like I press Ctrl A, you see I can do a lot of stuff. Also in mesh here, I have this mesh editor, which says that you created the mesh and you distributed them. So I distributed them along a line, 10 of them, but I can distribute them along a grid here, like that. Like, and then maybe like, let's have like 10 by 10 by 10, like lots of marbles. So you see that that's a lot of marbles. So the distance between them should be high enough, maybe 10 by 10 by 10 again. So this is the time I have to save. I press Ctrl S. I create a mesh network here and save it. Version 1. So now you see that I've got lots and lots of marbles. And if I have to move them up, I should not select and do this because they don't move up. What I do is that here I add a node called transform. And for the transform, I move them up in Y position, like let's say 3 or 10. I'm going to rotate them a bit as well. Just a bit of rotation. I don't know which direction, but possibly X, 30 degree, yeah. So if I add a dynamic here, if you look at dynamics, so they turn into dynamics, and that's the ground that they fall onto it. I would like to bring this ground up to match my ground. So there's somewhere here which says if I select it, it's here, position -20, just say 0, so be there. And if I play, you see that they all turn into like heaps of, oh, nothing happened because they should, oh yeah, now it happens. So lots and lots of dots out there. That's too many. I think that's why it makes it a bit. Let me just make it less, like let's say 5 by 5 by 5 so far. So we have easier life simulating them. Okay, so you can add a bunch of colors in a random way. So let's say if I tell them to be red, you can randomize the hue, so we'll get like a bunch of different colors, or randomize the saturation, so you get like different saturation of the same color, or randomize the value, or a mixture of all of them. That's too bright, so something like this. That could be helpful for the. I saw one team creating like a little playroom, so this could be useful for that. Okay, so now if I bring back my stuff, which are here, and if I start to roll them from the stair, actually I would like to create make this big. Okay, so, and also what I want to do is to give a bit of like very much unnoticeable for the audience, but noticeable for me, a bit of like angle to the stairs, so these like objects fall. So let's go to that transform. First of all, like the distribution is just too wide. You can go back and make this one a bit larger. Maybe select the one that the tube that is hidden, and you can make it larger, but it's too large, maybe possibly. Let's keep it 1, but in the transform, in the distribution, the distance between them would be 6 by 6 by 6. So we get a better distribution. So in the transform, I transform them into, of course, much higher, like let's say 20, and then into the Z minus 20, minus 30, minus 25. Okay, come on. Okay, so let's run the simulation. It won't hit the stairs. So if I go to if I select this ground, which is a bullet solver, you see that there is a collider object section. I can middle click and drag the stairs into here. Now it will collide the stairs and starts rolling down the stairs, right? I'm gonna create some invisible guides for these tills. First of all, again, I just give a bit of push. Maybe is there any force somewhere? I'm not sure if there's a force, but there must be in the mesh network. There must be a force to push them forward. But instead, I just like, because I want it to be, that's too much, a little bit more. And I move them slightly closer to the stairs. Okay, so I want to create an object here, like let's create a plane. That this plane, it would be much more simpler. Maybe like a funnel, right? So I want to create like a funnel that actually, you know what? I create a cone, and I literally make a funnel, and like say that all of these go into, but then we hide this funnel. Let me just hold D and just press D once, and then like whatever you click on it, it aligns to that. Press D again. So this is where we want to be, right? This is where we want the tills to fall. Somewhere around here. And that's the stairs, right? I might push this down a bit because it should align with no. Okay, I want to move the stairs up. Little bit of physical believability makes help. Okay, push this up a bit more until like it aligns with the jar, and then maybe this one a bit down. Let's look to the side. So this funnel basically rolls the marbles to go and fall into this. Actually, at the end of it, I can add some. If I go here and I add some height, no, not height, but some divisions. Here, you can see that we can select this vertex and press B on keyboard and hold B and middle click drag for the bit of soft selection. So now it's like a soft selection, and actually what I want to do is that to properly roll them, guide them into the it's a fake way, but it works. So now I shift right click and cut here, and then I select these faces. I can press B again and delete them. Now we have a funnel that goes into actually the lower edge of it. Press B again. Could be, oh no, that's too much. Like, yeah. Okay, we have a funnel that like kind of can lead these marbles to that point. So what I do, I add this to that ground, Control A, funnel, middle click to the collider objects again, but I hide it. So we don't, oh, let's run it first to see how it works. Oh, it doesn't work because it's closed. So I just have to delete this, and it's we want this to be inside out. So you see that like here is bright, but inside is dark. So that's what I do, is go to the mesh display and reverse it. So now it becomes the other way around. So let's run the simulation once and see. They go through this. Maybe we need more frames. They finally go, and oh, some of them fall, some of them not. Okay, we have to add this jar to the collider too, right? So it becomes something that I think I have to adjust the tip of this to like press B again on keyboard and adjust it so marbles don't go anywhere, they actually fall into the jar. So let's run the simulation and they go and boop, fall into that. Okay, so now I can hide this and let's make things a little bit nicer to look at. What I can do is to add a bunch of maybe a Arnold. Let me just save this as we are. So I'm talking a little bit about rendering as well. So I go to Arnold, add a HDRI. Let's have some HDRI. For example, I just download one HDRI for this. Let's go to polyhaven.com. Just get like a little nice room HDRI. Indoors and like a little beautiful playful room. This is not bad. 2K is more than enough. Download it to my project folder and add it to my Arnold lights, but I would select it and in the camera I say don't be visible to the camera. Yet if I render it functions, so but it's not visible in the camera. So it renders everything. Now it's time to assign a bunch of things. I would like to have a ground too, so shift right click, add a plane as a ground. So let me just pause this and so like make a little nice ground. So so look how nice the materials can work and how easy they are. So if you just right click on anything you want, let's say this jar, I go to the assign new material, I click on Arnold, I click on AI standard surface, it's added. That jar has a white Arnold shader, but the beauty of it is this presets. You just click on it, go glass, and replace it. So that is a glass jar now. Let's assign an Arnold shader to the ground material. Assign new material, Arnold, AI standard, and that's like a like a ceramic ground. And this one stairs, just like a basic plasticky thing should be fine, or like concrete. Assign new material, Arnold AI standard surface, and maybe but you guys send all of this into Substance Painter and bring them back so you get a much nicer so I just like for this one I leave it as is, but just like make it less shiny, so roughness would be higher. Okay, what about marbles? The marbles are not rendering out. Their colors are not coming through. What you do for them is this, that you just, first of all, you select them in Arnold, you say that export vertex colors. Let's see if the vertex color alone would do the job. No, it doesn't. So what you do is that this color, mesh color, has created a color set, right? So you can name that color set. You can name that like marbles underscore color set, enter. Select it, like, you know, just select it, copy that. And in your shading network, create an Arnold shader. Shading network can be loaded by clicking on this little sphere icon and go to the Arnold, add an Arnold shader, and then press tab and search for AI data or something. No, it's inside utility AI AI data color, AI user data color. You just click on that, out color to the base color, and this one you paste that name here, and then you assign this to, so you have to select them. You just middle click, drag and drop on them, or just right click here and say assign material to viewport selection. So it possibly not show it now again because there's a trick here. Let's see. Oh no, it works. So that's how it works. Now we have a Arnold shader on them, which is amazing because I can start to make them like, you know, the very shiny by lowering down the diffuse and making them like, let's say, go and make them ceramic again. No, plastic. No, like yeah, maybe ceramic was nice. Oh yeah, that looks nice. It looks more marbly now. Okay, so now you see that like the simulation runs and all of them fall into this. I want to give them a bit of push, like a suction or something. There must be something that orients them. I don't know about this so far, but let's try it together. Orient. Let's add a camera. We still have not added a camera, so I go to the rendering and click on a camera, and here is my camera. I look through the camera, and then I turn on my resolution gate and stuff. No, just the gate, and do a proper framing and turn on the wireframe and shader so we see the jar too. Actually, I want to hide this like parts that these little marbles are coming from, like that part. So that's my camera angle. So which every time that I want, I just go here and select my camera. But what about this orient? So it says aim at a target. Let me just turn off the dynamic and see what they do. Well, if I run this, they don't do anything. I think it gives me an error. It's an Arnold error, so that's why I close this. Orienting them. Strength, a lot of strength. No, I don't know if I can mix this with, let's delete that, with dynamics. strength. Position strength. Okay. So the position strength, let's go 0 by 0 by 0. So it pushes them to that position. So I could animate position strengthening. So you see that, like, it suddenly, I hope Maya doesn't crash. Yeah, I just, okay, it stopped. So I could animate the strength towards that point, but like not like, you know, gradually animating it towards that point. Okay, cool. We are safe. So I'm gonna delete that. But for now, what we can do, like with a bit of fake, like let's say for this face, we can select this edge and make it more angled. But in the stairs, like a little bit of, actually we have to look through the camera. So through the camera, it should not look fake, but like a little bit of cheating the eye of the audience without them noticing. Okay. So let's run the simulation. Okay, they're coming. If you see that they hit the wall of that funnel, but we don't see the funnel, but they all go through that funnel and they come, yeah, and they come and like gather into that. Okay, so how to render it? First of all, before rendering it, make sure that you cache it. So here you have this one that says, I think, yeah, cache mesh network. So you select your mesh network. So what is cache, guys? So this is a runtime simulation, which means that the calculations happens now. Like as you go forward, it does the calculation. But when you want to render, you want things not to repeat, like change. So you want them to be stored in a disk. So what you do, you just click on here. You can even say that, so it gets cached into the project folder. So you can, like, you have to have a project. Let me just set a project first to that desktop folder that we had. I'm going to set it here. It says that it doesn't have a workspace, so you create a default workspace. It sets there and export selection into that folder, and it says that inside that address that I created, inside the folder called cache alembic, and you can call it marbles cache, and export selection. It runs through the simulation once, but the simulation becomes cached, which means that they become stored on a hard disk as a file. So then after that, they are a series of animation, like it's like hand keyframed animation. They're not simulation anymore. So once you, after caching, you're ready to render it out. I would render like maybe 10 frames of it or 20 frames just to show you the entire process. And then you send it to After Effects for extra processing. And that's the end of it. So let's say let's start. Let me just do one last test render in the Arnold test render. Yep, looks pretty. So what I do now is to I go to here rendering, and then go to the render, and then render sequence. So here you say that which camera you have, camera 1 of course, and output location. You can create a folder called render and select that folder, and then I think that's it. So render sequence, this runs through like the entire sequence to render it. Like I just go here in the settings, and here inside settings, now it says that render sequence only renders current frame. The reason is that in the render settings it is set to the current frame, but I can go here and say that I'm going to render a sequence. Here you see that when I change this, look at this top one, it says current frame. When I change this, becomes, oh, it's a sequence now. Now frame 1 to 10, that's enough for now. And in the Arnold render, so this is the like this. You don't change this AA, but like you can increase these numbers for better quality if you will. But first thing you change for better quality is select your light and then increase the sampling of your light. I don't increase it here because I want the rendering to go fast. So now I say render sequence. It just goes through the sequence and starts rendering it. Let me just open After Effects. So first frame is done. You see that it just flashed. If I look at the desktop, you see that inside here, there should be a render folder. Where is it rendering? I should have rendered like frame, you know, towards the end of it. Well, I can stop it by pressing escape on keyboard, stops it. The address it gets rendered, it goes to Mesh Network images. Okay, so let's render from frame 309. No, let's say somewhere which looks nice. Maybe, oh, it's cached, but the cache doesn't run. I want the mesh to what is this trail? Okay. Yeah, maybe here is interesting, between 90 to 100. So let's render these 10 frames between 90 to 100. And oh, the camera is camera 1. The resolution is 1080. You set a like a proper resolution, not small one. And render sequence again. So it starts from frame 80 to 90, and it renders per frame. Then you bring your result into After Effects, and then you process it. You extra processing it. So I stop here because rendering is not fast, but we can. You get the idea. Oh, actually, let me just tell you something in Mesh as well before I stop. Let me just stop this. Like I just press escape, but you see, it's still like now it looks pretty. Like without any hassle, I created like a nice looking stuff. So let me just save this and start new. Mesh network, guys, if you have a bunch of boxes, there are a lot of other things you can do it. Like you can have, like, let's say, let me just duplicate this as a grid of like lots and lots of objects, like 10 by 10 and 10 by 10. So like it could be more, right? One of the things that are interesting in the mesh, so what I suggest you guys is that look at everything is here, start playing around with them. Something that you sometimes work with it and it's so fun is this influence. It's just add influence. It's like it's add a locator in the middle that you can select it and you can move it around, and it just like creates like influences around it. And well, it could, you can like change the size. You can also adjust this, like the randomness of it, a bit of randomness, and also like the limit of it, which like it enables scale and so like rotation and transform. So like, so it just like can influence all your, and then you animate this with rotation. It's so versatile. It's so interesting, and you can create some interesting stuff out of this. My point is, like, you know, look through everything you get out of Mesh. You can create this explosion. It's not the best explosion out there, but it's really good looking for stylized explosion, and also this trail for those of you who create a trail. So, you know, look around all of these possibilities that you can achieve beautiful results out of Mesh network.